G'day, everyone, and welcome back to the Rugby League Coach podcast. It is officially the 52nd installment of the podcast. We've had a year anniversary, but this is the 52nd episode, meaning you have over 52 hours worth of Lee and I talking into microphones. You lucky, lucky ducks. Lee Addison, of course, the founder of Rugby League Coach. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Really good, thank you. We have had a little time off recording this podcast and around the town with Taylor Brown. Not too much, but we have had a little bit of time, and I feel like we should tell the people you've been very busy on your roadshow, haven't you, in the school holiday clinic? And I've actually been very busy myself at my day job, traveling in and around the place. But
around the town, you've been traveling.
Taylor Brown's been around the town, so much so. Has your roadshow has been very successful this time around, Lee, this holidays?
Yeah. There's one more day of it as we talk now. So we've broken a record for a holiday. We've not actually broken the record for any particular clinic this time, but we've done very well across all our clinics. So 329 kids over 7 clinics. So if you average that out, I think it works out 42 kids-ish at each clinic.
Wow.
Or 47 kids. So it's been a very successful period. So it's good.
Yeah, it is good. And look, on the topic of your business, you obviously dropped some absolute massive rocker news on Monday morning, saying that the business itself, Rugby League Coach, that you've built up since 2018 is now officially on the market.
Yep. It is for a number of reasons. Yeah. So it's a good business, but yeah, I want to hand it over to the next person, basically, or people.
So, Lee, I guess when I saw the news, when I've sort of been told by you this news is happening, I was a bit taken aback, purely because I've known you in a coaching capacity. Like, my first interaction with you is obviously you were my coach, at school at St. Gregory's College. And I guess, although we have become great friends, I've always known you as you are, before you made the Rugby League Coach, you were the Rugby League Coach. Do you know what I mean? That was just so much of what I associated with you. What does this mean for your coaching career now that you're taking a step back from the Rugby League Coach?
The reality is I don't know.
Yeah.
So everyone speculated that I've got a job here, there, everywhere. Some people think I'm coming back to England. Some people think I've got a job in Australia somewhere. The reality is that I will not be applying for any job. I haven't got a job coaching rugby league. The only thing that will give me a job in rugby league is if somebody picks up the phone and wants my services. And obviously I still have the ability to coach the game, I believe, very well. So, but my time in rugby league could well be over, and I'm at peace with that.
It's a massive decision. And obviously you said you're at peace with that. How long have you been coaching for now?
I started in 1999. It's now 2023. So basically 24, 25 years.
25 years of coaching rugby league, and you're stepping out. But as you mentioned in one of your posts, this is something I was shocked to see, actually, when I've been to your house a fair few times now. You're not just a rugby league man, really, are you? You love soccer. You love. I mean, there's some very, very good reads on your bookshelf that have nothing to do with sport at all.
That's right. I mean, I'm a massive fan of politics. One of my favorite visits to England was when my cousin was in the House. She was an MP, and hopefully she will be again on the next round. And she brought me into the Houses of Parliament, and I was at Prime Minister's questions and whatnot. So I do watch a lot of British political stuff, American political stuff, a little bit of Aussie political stuff. That goes in fits and starts, despite the fact that I live here. I live here right now anyway. I do like to read about. I've always read about business owners and amazing stories about different people. I can't wait to watch the Oppenheimer film that's coming out in the next few days as we speak. I'm a massive cricket fan, absolutely huge cricket fan. Huge Manchester City fan, as you know. So yeah, I've never ever been an out and out football, as in rugby league head, that many people perceive me as. I never have been. But it was what I did. It's what I love. I still to this day think the game of rugby league is the best game in the world, but I don't like the industry of it anymore. And I've not liked the industry of it for quite a while. And that was why I set up my business. And that, I've just got to the point now where the industry has maybe caught up with that business a little bit in some ways, not trying to stop it or anything like that, but just the politics of certain things and whatnot. That nothing's stopping me at all. I mean, look at the numbers; it's going great. But yeah, my time's done. My time's done.
So we have weekly catch-ups on a podcast called the Rugby League Coach Podcast. And a lot of our topics when we do speak are about rugby league. On a personal, what does this mean for us? What does this mean for this podcast here, the Rugby League Coach Podcast? What does it mean for our listeners? What does it mean for the people that view us on YouTube? And what does it mean for me?
I'm in the process of selling the business right now, in the sense that people are interested in it, fielded a couple of offers. So I think it's only right that we make this the last podcast, Taylor.
Wow. I feel like Justin Holbrook.
I will continue to give my views on rugby league on your podcast, Around the Town with Taylor Brown. But I don't think the Rugby League Coach podcast should continue after this. And that makes me feel sad, because it's good, but this business might belong to somebody else very soon. So as things stand, I have made a decision that I want. This is going to be my last Rugby League Coach podcast anyway. If somebody else wants to make one called the Rugby League Coach podcast and bring me on, but I think this is the last one, mate.
Okay.
I am going to be doing a series of short podcasts, and by short, relatively short, so 10, 15 minutes, just me talking about certain issues. So I've asked the public on Rugby League Coach for any questions and what they want me to talk about, and they've been brilliant. So sort of like issues in the game and whatnot. And I'm going to make that a bit of a farewell series. But yeah, I think a year of podcasts is a good way to lock it in, and then these can be there for anybody who wants to listen to them at any point.
Yes, that's right. 52 hours done and dusted behind the microphone, 52 episodes, which has been, it's been an amazing time for both you and I, catching up weekly. We've had some pretty cracker guests come on, not just one-off guests that you've brought on and had really good conversations with. But of course, the regular crew, Varley, the Cheese, we've had some really good characters come on.
But, we can continue that on Around the Town. So
we absolutely will. I'm just, and that will definitely stick around. I want everyone to know Around the Town with Taylor Brown is not going anywhere. But if you're a listener of the Rugby League Coach and you hate Taylor Brown, I'm sorry, but this might be the end of the road for you.
Yeah. There's a lot. I know there will be people who listen to it every week who'll be upset about that. But look, if the business is ending, then with me, then it's up to somebody else from this point on forward. Like I don't want to create more that has to be sort of handed over, kind of thing. Yeah. So let's stay out of that holding pattern. Let's make a clean break, and
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. The Dragons could learn a little bit off you, Lee. I think the Dragons could learn. All right. Enough jabs at NRL clubs. Look, let's we've got a little bit of time on our hands. I'm going to ask you about a little bit of the history of the business. Lee obviously started in
Mm-hmm.
2018.
Mm,
So you were a teacher and a very successful rugby league coach.
mm,
In Harold Matthews, lots of school systems, Ipswich, you had
mm,
lots of
mm,
success there. It's been great to see the series of that unfold.
mm.
When was the lightning bolt moment for you in 2018 where it hit and you just said, this is the path, this is the way to go?
The lightning bolt was 2017 actually, and it took me quite a while to build the website.
Mm,
So I wanted to make sure that when it became public, that if somebody joined it, they had plenty to work on and
mm,
with. So the lightning bolt came because I used to be a writer for the Rugby League Coach magazine. I used to get it as a kid, Rugby League Coaching magazine. Then, when I was coaching and old enough, I contributed, and then a new owner took it over, and I kept contributing. And then I actually went to approach him and said, "Can I buy you out?" He offered me a price. I didn't take it up. I went in another direction, started my own up. So I wanted to create something for coaches primarily, but coaches and players and S&C coaches, because there was nothing out there. I remember when I was a kid having a book that I did all my training through, looked after my diet and whatnot. It was called Training for Rugby League. There's just nothing like that out there now, and I wanted to produce something for coaches and players that they could follow. And so that was a light bulb moment. I'd say that was probably late 2017. I remember going to England, going on a plane with a notebook and just taking as many notes as I could about what I needed to know and what I needed to put on the website and whatnot. And did a bit of research, bit of reading. And when I came back, I met with a few web designers and started the process.
So it started off the rugby league coach as programs for coaches, for players to
Players,
go
yeah.
into,
So a
and
resource for
video
coaches
to
and
tourists.
players, yeah.
It was a resource, yeah.
Yeah, it still is there. I mean, it's now the biggest in the world, in the rugby league world. It's the biggest online resource you will find. There's another company out there that said they were the first digital platform. That's bullshit. Mine was, right? And it is also the biggest. I know it's the biggest because I've checked. So it's the biggest. So.
Oh, perfect. So do you remember your first upload? Do you remember the first upload and the feeling around when you uploaded those videos and how you felt?
I don't remember my
Because
first.
I know you wouldn't have half done it. You would have done it absolutely right, how you would have wanted it to be, and it would have come out looking pretty sensational. You would have put a lot of hard work into that moment, and I thought that would probably be a pretty significant time in your life.
Well, it wasn't a single upload. There was about 50 that I put up in the first go. So I can't actually remember my first one. It wasn't a big significant moment. I can remember doing it on the night,
Mm.
and in the place that I was at, and uploading a load straight away. And I can't remember what it was, but what I can actually do, mate, is I can go through my back catalogue now and actually tell you. So if you want to move on to the next question, I'll be able to scroll down and eventually I'll be able to tell you what the very first video was.
So
Or series of videos.
So you started, obviously, the videos went up and all these sorts of things happened. You were still teaching at this time.
Yeah, I was. And the site actually went live on July the 16th, 2018.
Mm.
So, in 3 days, we'll be celebrating the 5th birthday, which again is, the poignancy in the moment is not lost on me, and I was still teaching. So this is just me in evenings at weekends. This was by far the busiest I have ever been on the business, just setting all this up. So everything was self-taught. There was no team with me. It was literally just me, myself, and Irene. And I filmed lots of things, got people to create drills for me and whatnot in local parks and film them. And there's that many videos, mate. I'm still scrolling. But yeah, it was a big undertaking.
So you put the video, you've got the videos up there. You're still teaching at school. and you were continuing to film, I presume, and upload and film and upload, and then
That's
of
right.
course once it goes live, then the other side of it is then your people are it's an online resource, so people are now
Yeah.
reaching out to you and contacting you.
Yeah. So I had to let the world know it was there. So I, you know, made sure I had social media accounts and whatnot. I remember my first social media post, actually. I just sat in front of my backdrop and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm bringing a website out." Yeah, a couple of people jumped on it pretty quickly, which was amazing. And I think that's a sign that how much people were clamoring for it. But what gave it a big boost is I got the Poland job.
Yes, I was about to. So the Poland job, I saw in some of your posts today that it actually unlocked a whole new audience of you and your coaching.
That's
And
right.
and you got some international gigs. Obviously, you did get the Polish job off that, and a trip, I believe, a successful trip.
Well, yeah. Well, even before that, though, mate, what happened was I posted on LinkedIn that I was now the Poland coach, and an ABC journalist who's now no longer with us saw that and said, "Leo, want to do a story?" Tom Greenard, and ran a great story and a feature length story on the ABC website. Also did some radio interviews with me. Channel 7 picked up on that. And before I knew it, I was on Sunrise. And I said to them, "Well, I want you to plug my business if you can as well." So the Sunrise guys were sat there on the couch talking about rugbyleaguecoach.com.au a mere maybe 6 weeks after I'd released it. So I couldn't have asked for better publicity. I mean, I think the Sunrise shows get about 2 million. So on a Saturday morning. So that was brilliant. I do remember one gay bloke seeing me on TV. I only found out it was gay because he told me, and basically hitting on me after he'd seen me on television. He was lived in Tasmania or lives in Tasmania. So you'd be glad to know I turned that down, mate. But yeah, it did put it out there.
Baylor Trown, was it? That was his name.
So yeah, it put it out there, mate. So I'm a big believer. Again, I've told you, mate. There's a bit more to me than rugby league. I'm a big believer that, if you like, I'm a big believer in the universe. I'm a big believer in, if you're on the right track, things will fall into line for you if you just let them happen. If you're not on the right track, you'll be wading through some mud. And this was a big sign to me that I'd made the right decision. And I remember I started doing some A-grade coaching that year and basically walked out because the coach director was a pillock, and I just went, I'm leaving, I've had enough, and focused on the website. And then next thing goes Poland coach. So yeah, that was a really exciting time. Definitely the busiest time of my life. And I used that website to coach the Polish players before I met them. And I absolutely believe that's why we won the tournament that we did. So
yeah, so you've got this perfect tool to coach players literally from across the other side of the globe. And you'd only just launched it. So obviously, no foresight in it. And sometimes there's a really good saying, if you work hard, you get lucky. People don't just get lucky. Do you know what I mean? With it, if you work hard and you're in the right path, things pop up that just work perfectly. And it's one of those scenarios where it works.
If you look at the website, you'll see there's a Poland RL section on there, and it still is on there to this day. So, although I did take the tactics and whatnot off because I didn't want people seeing them if they'd only just bought it to get some insight, but everything's still there from that day. And yeah, I suppose, I'd say back then Google Drives and whatnot weren't quite what they are now. Sounds silly, doesn't it? 2018, but technology has moved on significantly then. So yeah, it was a real big thing for Poland to succeed, and it was a place where they could share chats with each other and whatnot. So it was good.
So obviously you get this, you get the Polish gig, the Polish gig, and then that's 2018 still.
2018, I was Poland coach until 2020. Actually, I coached them in 2019 as well.
So coming out of 2020, you've got 2 years of the Rugby League Coach website. Is this the time when you move full time? When do you move full time with the business?
So 2020, if you remember, was actually when COVID struck. So I tell you where it came in handy. In Queensland, we had to teach the kids online.
Yes.
So all I did was give all my rugby league kids a login to my website.
So all the kids got to log
All
into
the rugby
website.
league kids on my program, my rugby league program, because that was my job full time. I just gave them a login to rugbyleaguecoach.com.au and said, follow this training.
Easy as.
Because it was already there.
It was already there. It was
And if
already
you think
built.
about it, I used to say to people at the school who were my friends, because people used to look down on it, I say, well, if I was a science teacher and I had a textbook and gave it to all the students to do at home, people would be going, oh, that's brilliant. Well, I did exactly the same thing for rugby league.
Well, it's more than a textbook. It's funny you say that. During that 2020 period, I played round one and I was looking towards possibly continuing to play at the end of that season or re-signing with the Dolphins.
Mm.
I remember going to the park and doing some drills and thinking, what am I going to do? And having to sit there and think about what drill I wanted to do before I actually went and put the cones out and executed it, even if there was a couple of us there. Because even though I'd been a part of rugby league systems for so long, when you move into that headspace, it's completely different.
Yeah, because you're always waiting for somebody to tell you what to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you might recognize it when you're doing it, but it doesn't mean you know how to put it together. It doesn't mean you know how to measure it. So.
Yeah. So, I was just saying, obviously that would have been an outstanding resource for those kids. So you hit 2020, 2021, you start hitting some big numbers. And then, of course, is that the birth of the Aim High program?
Yes. So basically, I started doing a lot of one-on-ones and small group, and then I decided that it was time to bring it all together. And Aim Higher, I actually did Aim Higher programs 10 years ago for clubs that I was coaching at. I used to get their juniors together and call it Aim Higher. So it was all in the back of my mind. And I did the first one in 2021 at Logan. I thought I'll book it for 25 kids, and 42 were there. So it was just a bandwagon that just kept rolling on. And today I've started Aim Higher number 60, 2.5 years later. So that's 60 programs, 3,000 and something kids. So it's been brilliant, mate. It's been brilliant. It's been really good.
Yeah. So Aim High program continues, and that brings us sort of towards the present day. And just now you're very successful. You've been successful for a couple of years now, full time in rugby league. The next chapter fully doesn't involve rugby league, but it certainly has built up to this point. So I do congratulate you on that.
Thank you, sir.
It's a great achievement, and it's not the only business and adventure you've been on. You've obviously grown very much so, owning your own business and pushing in this direction. So I do want to congratulate you on that. It's been an amazing ride.
Thank you.
It's we're now coming sort of to a natural end, aren't we?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm still trying to find this first video. There's that many. I'm still scrolling down. I'm getting there, though. I'm nearly there.
Before we get to that video, Lee, is there any messages you have to the countless, over 3,000 kids that you've coached in those Aim Higher programs, and the schools and the clubs and the international coaches and people everywhere that you've helped out through your services? You obviously want them to keep coming back and keep supporting the rugby league coach.
Of course I do. Look, I've never ever. Everyone knows I'm opinionated, and everyone knows that I'm not backwards and coming forwards with those opinions. But I've never ever said I'm the only one who can do it. Never ever. My following and membership and players who come to the clinics and whatnot has built up because of the person and the stuff I provide. I understand that. But to think I'm the only one who can do that and the only one who can offer something like that would be very silly. to all the players and the coaches and everything out there, I want to thank you all so much for your support. Let's not beat around the bush here. You've kept the bread on my table, and I really appreciate that. And you continue to keep the bread on my table. If you want to be a millionaire, I don't think you choose to work in rugby league. If you do, you have to play quite a few Origin games and things like that. So, or coaching them. So, I thank you, absolutely thank you all. I'm trying to look into my camera here for those who are watching. That thank you from the bottom of my heart. When somebody hands over $1 to you, it's quite a big thing. And I remember doing my first aim hire, for example. I was more nervous for my first aim hire in Logan than I was for any rugby league game I ever coached, because people were paying me money. And I needed to make sure that I delivered.
All right, beautiful. Well, thank you, Lee. Thank you for the way you've built the rugby league coach, the way it is today, and all your time. It's been a great 12 months of podcast, 12 months plus of podcasting.
Yeah, thank you
hours.
for that.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and we get to continue that. But of course, congratulations on the rugby league coach, and I guess it's a bye for now.
Yeah, I just want to add, that if people do want to continue to hear my thoughts on things, there will be ways that they can do that. I do have a social media company called Special Ops Socials. One of my big jobs moving forward will be helping companies grow. So I'm having a lot of success with quite a few companies at the minute, helping them grow through social media and grow their business. Might be helping a certain media person and a few other people, and we're kicking some goals. So keep an eye on that. I've got a few other projects that are going to be bubbling away as well. Can't reveal too much yet. I do want to continue to help children moving forward. So I want to do a business involving tutoring. So I want to do something for all the rugby league kids that I've been involved with. Just to make sure that, again, I'm not just a rugby league head, mate. I'm somebody who cares about kids' futures and everything else. So, this isn't the end of, I'm not going to go back to teaching, put it that way.
It's not the end of Lee Addison, that's for sure. You can't keep it.
All right, lad.
Thank you very much, Lee.
Thanks for hosting. See ya.